For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Ecclesiastes, or the preacher. This is chapter 1, verse 18. I'm going to say it one more time. He that for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that really mean? That really encapsulates the statement that is often made, and an example of it was given in the movie The Matrix. But what was said was that ignorance is bliss. And so the guy who had been woken up from the Matrix, he had been woken up. He was woken up, taken out of the Matrix with Neo and Morpheus. But when he swallowed that pill of knowledge, of knowing, the red pill, he found that the reality is cold. He found that the reality is cold, in that to know how cold and how messed up the reality is sorrow, as it says in this biblical verse written thousands of years ago. That is sorrow to know. To have wisdom, to have much wisdom, is to have much grief. And as you increaseth your wisdom, the more grief, the more sorrow that you have, because you learn more about this reality of this cold world. Which is why he chose to say, hey, I want to take the red pill. I want to take the blue pill. Let me swallow the blue pill, because to be ignorant was to be blissful. And I can only relate this to my own situation, my own life. Is that when I knew less, in my ignorance, I was more happy. So it seems. I recall when a time when I was just hanging out with my best friend, Rod, and we just ride around. I had the loudspeakers in my Ford Explorer. So, we ride around in the bass, boom, 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 boom. And we got our liquor. So we probably already had a few drinks. But first, so before we would start the day, either I call Rod up, or Rod would call me up, be like, hey, what's up? Where you at? Oh, I'm at this location. I had the car. Rod didn't have the car. At the time, I didn't have no children. So I was single, no baby mamas, no nothing, right? Rod, I think he had, at the time, maybe a son, one baby mama, maybe two. I think he had one baby mama, but she had two children, a boy and a girl. But I didn't have no children. I didn't have no baby. So what happened was, I call up Rod, and I'll say, Rod, what's up? Where you at? Where you at? Tapping in. Where you at? Rod would say, oh man, I'm here right now. I'm over here right now. Okay, well, I'm gonna come pick you up. And I go pick Rod up. Rod would go. We like, man, we need some liquor. You know what I'm saying? We need some liquor. So Rod would go in the store, and Rod would, I didn't have the money, far as being cheap. But Rod was like, don't trip. I'll go. I'm gonna take the liquor. So Rod would take the liquor. He'd take big bottle. We had a big bottle of liquor. After we got our big bottle of liquor, we might find a parking spot and drink and turn the music up loud. You know, I had the speakers in the back of my Ford Explorer, so we'll blast the music, and we getting turned up, right? It's like we getting ready because we about to go. The plan is go to find girls. That was pretty much the plan. We're gonna get turned up. We're gonna get, you know what I'm saying, get intoxicated, and then we're gonna go either hit up the mall, or we gonna hit up, we just gonna drive around blasting music and getting at girls that was walking along the street. But that pretty much consisted of our whole day. There was no knowledge being gotten. I wasn't going to no libraries, and we wasn't talking about, reading books or none of that. We were just like living at the lowest animalistic level. Getting drunk, listening to music, looking for women. And when we found those women, we did our thing, and then the next day it would repeat. You know what I'm saying? So when I think about those times, I wasn't concerned about world politics. I wasn't concerned about, history and reading and, and even my financial future. I didn't have no mentors, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think Rod had a mentor because we both come from a kind of a single home environment. Being my father was a single parent. My father raised me until he passed away at the age of, I was 17 going on 18. Rod, I think his father was on drugs, and he had a messed up situation with his father. And I think even with his mother, relationship with his mother was kind of strained. So we both didn't have no mentorship, because I feel like had we had some mentorship, maybe we would have been doing something differently. Maybe if we had an older male mentor saying, hey, y'all wasting y'all time doing these things. Y'all wasting y'all time, riding around looking for women. You're taking risks because either you catch a STI, or you knock up one of these women, and now Rob was already a baby father, but I become a baby father. So we didn't have none of that. But during that time, our ignorance was blissful because we didn't care about none of the wars and none of that stuff. And as I became older, and when I decided to go back, I went to college and pursue my education. I got real serious because I was in college around this time. I was taking some classes at community college with Rod. Well, Rod wasn't. He just come up there to hang out with me. And he ended up meeting another baby mama at that same spot, at the same community college he was taking. But anyway, I was taking community college, but I wasn't serious. My mind wasn't focused on that. I was just, like I said, I was thinking about girls, having fun, drinking, partying. That's it. And so all those classes I was signed up for, I got F's and D's in them. Like I didn't even, you know what I'm saying? And it came a period in my life when I was working these dead-end jobs, and I still am working a dead-end job, but that's another story. But it came a period in my life where I was tired. I'm like, man, I don't want to be working at warehouses all my damn life, and working for staffing agencies and all this. Like, so I fed into the lie of, going to school, getting your education so you can have your American dream. But what came out of that, so when I went back to college, when I took went back to college in my early 20s and got serious, I spent a lot of time in the library because I was really locked in. So I would spend all this time studying because a lot of this, because I didn't take school serious, I had to catch up on a lot, right? So when I was locked in, I was studying. But what also I was doing in between studying my schoolwork was I was reading books in the library. And I remember I got exposed to this document, this infamous document called the Willie Lynch letter. And that really just blew my mind. Like, to read that there was a method that was created behind this madness that we are having right now as a black community, to discover that there was a method and to see it really blew my mind, and it kind of radicalized me. But the thing is, now I was no longer ignorant. And so I had anger. And as I further my reading and further my knowledge and found out the reality of all the social issues and political issues and the financial issues and all these things, the race issues, like to know this information and get further knowledge on this information, it makes you depressed. So no longer was I this naive, stupid, guy that just lived to party and chase women. Now I was learning about this reality in which we live. And when you learn about the reality in which you live, it can make you feel a type of way. It can make you depressed. It can make you angry, like all the things it did to me. And so now that years have passed, and I often think back to those moments me and Rod had, and I think, damn, man, that time, even though it was not productive. I mean, what was productive, I say, was building a bond with another brother, but it was not productive in the sense that we weren't planning for the future. Actually, we was, in a sense, almost sabotaging our future. But the times I remember as me feeling happy, me feeling, less stress. And now that I'm at this point in my life and to have acquired all this knowledge that I've acquired, it does cause sorrow to know the reality of the situation. To know the reality of the situation. So when I like to read, I like to study, and I read the Bible from front to back. And I'm not religious. I don't belong to no religion, but I'm a seeker of knowledge, and I like to read old literature. This is thousands of years old wisdom. It's a lot of wisdom in this Bible. A lot of wisdom, especially in Proverbs. But like I said, man, it is, to know does cause sorrow. As you increase your knowledge, it does cause sorrow. That's why when I look at in the world now and I see the people where I'm at right now, they seem more happier because they know less. Or maybe they are ignoring the reality, but they're not seeking knowledge. They're seeking all these other things to distract them. Smartphone, video games, social media, all these things that keep them ignorant. They don't pick up a book. They don't choose to want to learn about nothing that goes on in the world and that's shaping our reality. They don't want to know that. You know what I'm saying? So it does cause grief as you increase your knowledge. Hold on, y'all.